All right, we'll begin. No long introductions, Uncle John, but we'll get straight into it. So, you were born in Samoa, from what I know.
Right.
And from memory, like, what was it like in the islands when you were growing up?
I was only there for about 3
years. 3 years?
We came over in 1954 with the family came over then. So very, very faint memories of Samoa.
Yeah.
When I was young. But apparently I could speak Samoan fluently.
Yeah, apparently. So not anymore.
I know when I left I wasn't happy because...
foreign.
Because my cousins, I think at that time, we all travelled by boat. I think it's a Tofua. So that... But
Grandma told me,
to get through the reef, I think they had to get us on smaller boats out to the bigger boat out on the outside of the reef.
Multiple boats just to get out.
But apparently I wasn't too happy that we're leaving my grandparents and family like that. So I was swearing a lot in Samoan.
Really?
That's what they tell me. So I don't really remember much about that voyage. But Mum, myself, Jackie, Savati, my twin sister, and Ola, we all came together. I think it was the Tofua. I think there were two boats that brought people from the islands to New Zealand at that time.
Because Auntie Ola, she's what?
Younger.
A couple years younger?
I think 2 years younger.
Okay, so she was born
in Samoa,
Yeah, she would have been maybe 1 year old. Yeah,
so we were all very young.
Very young, yeah.
3 of us, and it was Mum's first trip outside of the islands.
And Uncle Ollie was born outside
in
of
New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
Auckland. Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
And your mum, Sile.
And NZ. So what do you remember from like NZ? You guys always were in South Auckland?
No, we first moved into Ponsonby.
Oh, Ponsonby.
Which is where most, I guess a lot of the island migrants moved to. Actually, I think it was mostly like Freeman's Bay at that time. It was the inner city area.
Okay.
That's where we actually first lived. But then they carved the motorways through it and they tore down a lot of houses there.
Oh, okay. So you had to move from there.
We moved slightly next suburb, which Ponsonby.
Ponsonby.
And then later on moved to Greyland. So those are the two main suburbs which at that time, in the 50s, were Polynesians sort of moved into because we had to...
Even now, Greyland's still got quite a few islanders there too, yeah?
I'm not sure how many specifically, but...
Ponsonby's changed though.
Yeah, I think Ponsonby and Greyland definitely changed a lot. But I'm sure there's still some island families who kept houses there.
Yeah.
But I think when Dad bought our house in Gunston Street, I think Mum told me he's only bought it for about £500 at the time. But now they're probably about, multi-million-dollar homes.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Adjusted for inflation.
Yeah. It's quite a lot.
Yeah. So what was school like? Do you remember?
I remember Ponsonby Primary was our first school. I think at my primary one, the first year, I think there were actually about 3 twins in that
school? In
that classroom.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Still
so it would have been you, Auntie Jackie?
Yeah, there was a couple of English kids who were from England just come over. That was Primo one in 1955 at Ponsonby School, primary. And I remember it was walking, we either had to walk or go by bus to school back in those days. It was about 3 or 4 miles. So it was a lot of fun. Just walk past the shops. And,
what was it like as a twin though, Uncle? Like, it's hard. I guess it's hard to describe it any other way because that's all you would have known, yeah? Just being like a twin and having that other connection with someone.
Sure. That was always, at that time, was close. But then we had, where we lived in Ponsonby, we had Dad's cousin Maya and Odile and their children living.
Oh, okay.
So we had a big kind of
community,
extended family there.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't just with Jackie, but Aunt Ollie, Ola and Ollie. There's also, Telima, Luis and Neo, and Var. So there are other the other family next door.
Yeah.
So
A little village there.
yeah, so we were close. I mean, we went to school, and then Jackie was sick a lot early on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
what
she
kind
had
of
like
sick?
I think it was like if I remember it, maybe it was sort of flu type things or things like that.
Oh, okay.
It just kept her off school for a while.
Sick of school.
Probably. But then we moved to Grey Lynn, which is just next door.
Yep.
Suburb next door. Went to Richmond Primary School. But then we only stayed in
That area.
Auckland Centre only until 1962, I think it was. Then we moved to Manurewa, South Auckland.
Was that like a big transition from like the city centre to South Auckland, or back then it wasn't really?
Yeah, in a way it was, because there weren't that many Polynesian Pacifica families in Manurewa at that time.
At that time, yeah.
But most
It
of
would
them
be
were
more
still-
farmland, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a lot of it was. It was like
Countryside.
country. It was country. I mean, the schools were 99% Palangi Pākehā kids, right through to high school. So that was different. That was different in a sense.
This was in
'cause
like
we
the
had all that.
60s?
This was early 1962, 63, 64.
Oh, wow.
When we went to high school. But in Ponsonby, actually, that was the school we went to. I think there was a bit of a mixture of because we went just to the primary school, then went to Richmond Road Primary School. There was a bit more of a, you get more Pacifica students then. But there still weren't that. It wasn't a lot of Polynesians at that time.
Yeah.
In
But
the
it
early 60s, it kept coming up later on to get more and more, increasingly more and more Polynesians. I think in 1955 there were only about 1,000 Samoans in New Zealand.
And that's when Mum and Uncle Raymond was born, like when you
Right.
moved to Marirewa?
Yeah, they were already born. They were born
they were.
when we were in Ponsonby
Oh, all right. Yeah.
and Grey Lynn. They were born when we were in Ponsonby. We were all very young.
So what was, can you tell me like what was your father was like, our grandfather?
Oh, your grandfather?
Because I like to, like, there's limited knowledge about him, you know?
Right.
So I'm very intrigued just to know people's perspectives of our grandfather.
Well, it's probably the main reason why we moved to New Zealand. Because I know when he was young, I think when he was maybe about a teenager, Mum says he went to or walked to Apia and got himself into a Catholic school. So they stayed with a pastor because he wanted to get an education. So that was the family story, which my mum told us. So he sort of left the village in Safone in Savai.
Oh, okay. So like kind of went on a different path.
Yeah, I guess he. I'm not sure exactly. I guess why he left. I guess he wanted a better life or a better something different for himself, and he went to Catholic school in Apia, in the main town. And he
got educated there. And
got educated there, and then he got a good job in one of the trading houses in Apia. Maybe we have a photo of him in his office with a telephone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But then I think his sister had earlier come to, at some stage, had come to New Zealand. Auntie Tuesi, she was like a nanny for one of the New Zealand lawyers who was working in Apia at the time. So I think she came earlier. She came before Dad to New Zealand and lived in Auckland. And I think it was her who suggested to Dad to bring the family to New Zealand. So it was they made the call to. I think my dad came first. Your grandfather came first, and then he told Mum and us to come over. So I guess it was their feeling that they wanted an education for us, and that's how we all ended up in Ponsonby.
So what was he like as a father from like your perspective when you were growing up?
I think he was a typical, Samoan
Typical, yeah.
dad at the time. Could be very stern.
Yeah.
He was I think he wanted to do the best for us, but he worked very hard. I mean, he worked over at Chelsea Sugar Refinery.
Oh,
and
okay.
he'd catch the wharf over there. He'd catch the ferry over to the Chelsea Sugar Refinery, which is just on the North Shore there, which is still going.
Yeah. My friend's dad still working.
Yeah. Then later on he worked at Freezing Works, Westfield. But he did get sick with asthma. I think he probably didn't protect himself as well as he could. And so he suffered a bit from asthma, as did your grandmother, my mum. So that was always a health problem with them.
Okay.
So, I mean, Dad always looked, provided food on the table and shelter and food and shelter for us. So at that time until he died in 1966. So,
66.
But he never went back to Samoa when he came over.
He would have still been relatively young, yeah?
Yeah, very young, early
still.
40s. In his early 40s.
Yeah, still pretty young.
Yeah. Man, he'd get meat from the Freezing Works. He was very generous because he'd we go run down to the bus stop there to help carry his meat that he got from Westfield Freezing Works, his bag, and then he'd dole it out to some of the about 2 other Samoan families nearby. So we'd have to run off and take a bit of meat here for this family, some for another family. Actually, there's 3 other families.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of meat.
Yeah. I think so. He was very generous with his anything, but he was like that. I think he was always wanted to keep in touch with other relatives.
Yeah.
I mean,
connection, I suppose.
It's connected. So he always had people. We always over in Ponsonby in Gunston Street for, and he'd play, Sweepy, this card game.
Yeah.
And Mum would be out busy cooking, and then if they had kids, we'd enjoy it because we'd be playing with the kids.
Yeah.
So, and I remember one time we took this long road trip to visit one of his cousins who lived, I think I worked out of somewhere around Panmure.
Oh, okay.
But we did like a bus and a long walk to get there.
Would have been different back in the days.
Yeah, because
now it's just like straight there, but
yeah, because at that time they were still building the motorway freeways.
Yeah.
I remember there's a lot of construction, so we ended up doing a very long walk as well as a bus drive to get to his cousin's place.
Yeah,
it was our cousin Anne, and she had a Dutch husband, Evan. Evan at the time, and
what's his name? Evan.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. I think your mum knew them because they moved to East Tamaki.
All right, yeah.
But then we had to walk and ride the bus all the way back home. So, and that was just to keep in touch with his cousin. So he was. One thing I do remember about Dad, he always wanted to keep in touch with people and maintain the relationships.
Oh, nice.
So he always had. We also had a lot of people over at Gunston Street, like his sisters, his 2 sisters, and his brothers, because he brought his other cousins over, Uncle Maya. Well, Uncle Maya and them were over, but he was already there next door. But then there's Uncle Siwaki and other of his cousins. So he'd always, I think he'd always have them over and keep in touch with them. So, because we were, there was a very small Samoan population.
Yeah.
At that time in the really early 60s.
Oh, yeah, it would have been very small.
Yeah, it would have been. Especially in Manurewa, there weren't that many families there in the early 60s. But, it grew up. You got more and more of them come through by that time.
Different story now, huh?
Yeah. I think I was probably one of the first, I definitely was one of the first Samoan pupils at Manurewa High School.
Well, you were, yeah?
Yeah, I can't even remember any.
If there was anyone else, yeah.
at that, because I was there 64. And
That'll be interesting.
There's definitely more Maori
Yeah.
Maori students
But
than
Samoans, not sure.
I can't even remember one at that time. Now, of course, it's all
The opposite now.
Polynesian students, yeah.
It's all Māori and Pacific.
Yeah.
So, yeah, school. And what age did he pass away? Sorry, you said. Yeah.
He was about 42, I think.
42.
1966 when I was still in high school.
How old were you, Uncle?
15.
15. That would have impacted you quite a bit, though.
Yeah.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Like anyone, really, you know?
Yeah. I think it made me want to carry on to school because at that stage, I could have left school.
Yeah.
But I stayed on for my second year, fifth. And
then you went all the way?
Yeah. And then sixth form and actually seventh form.
Mm.
And then I took a year off, worked at the freezing works, and then went to Auckland
You took a
University.
year off during school?
No, after school.
After school, yeah.
I went to work for a year at Telebis, the freezing works, and then I went to university after that.
Oh, wow. Were you one of the first in uni as a Samoan student?
No, I'm sure there were plenty before me by that time.
Back then?
Yeah.
So,
There was a small group.
Oh, that's good.
Of Samoan or Pacifica students then.
What was
that was in 1970,
72.
70, what was it? Yeah, it was 1972, 73. Actually, 1971, 72, that area.
What was that whole experience like? Like describe the feeling. Like, was it like did you go through like a party phase, or was it still kind of like focused and education?
No,
or was it just like a daily
really,
routine?
Yeah, I don't think more of a party phase because I mean, you always go to the pub and things like that. But the main, then you'd always go down to the theatres, movie theatres, because Auckland University was right, just a walk to Queen Street. So and then there's always a snooker tables rooms are very popular.
Yeah.
So there was, by that time, there weren't a lot of students living in dormitories and housing, but a lot of students also lived at home.
Yeah.
So it was cheaper.
Makes sense.
And the education at that time was really cheap.
Yeah.
So I stayed there. Then you'd catch the bus, the road services bus to Manurewa. Back home or catch the train.
Yeah. And what were you studying in uni primarily?
Political studies and anthropology.
Oh, really?
That's what I got and the bachelor's for.
You got your, is it BA?
Yeah.
Political studies. So Mum just mentioned something about Bastion Point. I have no idea what that is.
Oh, well, after university, I joined the Auckland Star, the newspaper there in Auckland.
Oh, like a big publication?
Yeah, at that time.
Yep.
It was the morning paper, the day paper, then
it
was the afternoon paper. And the New Zealand Herald was the morning paper.
Yep, yeah.
And 1975, there's the Maori Ngāti Whātua tribe sort of occupied. There's a Bastion Point in Auckland City.
Is that like around, not far from Mission Bay? Is that?
It's not far from Mission Bay. It's closer to Orewa.
It's
not far. No,
Orewa.
It's close to the city. It's on the Mission waterfront.
Yeah,
Mission Drive.
I think I know where it is.
Yeah, but the Bastion Point itself, I think, is up above it.
Mm-hmm.
Above then there was
a protest.
A protest about the land, and they occupied this particular area.
Okay.
For quite a while, for about a year.
Really? Like a lot of people. Like how many people are we talking? Was it
it's
families?
Well, they had tents, and there was tents set up and buildings set up. So it was I think at the most there's probably at least a couple of hundred
who really
lived there.
Wow.
It would vary, of course, but
spread out kind of over the land?
Over one particular area.
Oh, all right.
There was a disputed land.
Just that particular part of land? Or was it like a general protest about land?
It was both.
Both.
Local bastion point was the local focal point.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also general
Issues.
There's general issues about Maryland in general
Oh,
in
okay.
the early 70s.
So they were having the protest there, and then you were working for the Auckland
Just the
Star,
local- Yeah.
and then you went to report on it.
Yes. Yeah.
So were you like one of the only ones that were allowed to go?
Allowed to go?
Like,
No, they were. I mean, the protests, they would definitely talk to, media.
oh, okay, yep.
If you media representative, they would usually talk to you.
Mm.
Yeah, I was there on the first day when they did the protest. Reported on that.
Mm. Wow, that's fascinating. And what was it like? Like, I'm just trying to imagine like what the sentiment, or even like the just the whole vibe of the place. Were people quite upset, or were they more like a calm protest but stern?
Oh, well, it was all three. It was all a whole range of emotions over the period.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, Joe Hawke's niece died there in the fire, so there's obviously quite a range of emotions.
What happened there? Sorry,
One of the
protesters.
one of the a small child, one of the nieces of the protest leader, Joe Hawke.
Mm.
I think his niece had died in a fire there.
Oh, really? That's
So
important.
that was a big,
That's no good.
a big emotional high point. And then eventually the police came and took it over, and dismantled it.
But
And
this
they
is
came
over a series of years. You were saying
I think it was definitely over a year.
over a year.
This was back about 50 years ago, nearly 50 years.
Wow, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And what was working for Auckland Star like?
Well, I think I was about the second Samoan reporter there.
Oh yeah,
Reggie Schwenk was. I think he was the first.
yeah.
He was there at the same time as I was. He eventually left to go to Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
And I know one time he was the director of the Polynesian Centre there
In Hawaii.
in Hawaii. Yeah. It was a good job and insight into New Zealand's society and
Did you have kids
writing.
back then?
Not until 75 when Amy was born.
Ah, okay. 75, and that's when Amy
Yeah,
was introduced. Amy enters
yeah.
into
so
the
it was-
world.
I mean, there were other issues with Pacifica coming up at that stage. We also had the Dawn raids and the
Oh, yes. Yeah, when did that happen? Like 70s or 80s?
70s, about 73, 74. When I know some of our family not any of our family, I don't think we ever stopped and asked for their passport by the police, but definitely people that they knew, friends of family knew, were stopped,
that was
and
a
that
big
became
thing,
an issue.
Yeah. So what was it like when you became a father? Like,
Oh, it
what
was
you can
wonderful.
remember?
Yeah. I think, Auntie Anne would tell you the story that when she was born, it was a very difficult birth.
Yeah.
And she was
For Amy? I mean, for Auntie Anne.
for Anne, yeah. I mean, she had trouble getting the painkillers
Oh,
for her
yeah.
back, and she was in a Catholic hospital,
Mm.
and so it was very difficult. They wouldn't allow husbands in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we now you'd get just about the whole family involved in the US.
With the cameras and everything.
Yeah. But even Anne's mum wasn't there at that time. It wasn't usual for husbands to be at the bedside, because most of them were born. A lot of people are born like if you're born in hospitals like Middlefield, like Middlemore, man.
Yeah.
You know, they would just come in, and the mums would be by themselves a lot, from what I remember.
Yep, yeah.
So it was very difficult, but that was tough on Anne.
Yeah,
and,
wouldn't be.
But it was worth it when Amy was born. I mean, that was it's quite amazing. I mean, seeing your child's born. I was there when both Amy and Sean were born, and they were both difficult. But
difficult to raise, or
no, it's just difficult to birth. The difficult births. The second one, but it was both wonderful that when they were born. This was really the most beautiful feeling a parent can have, or a person can have. I know. Amy will tell your mum, Anne will tell you the story of it.
Oh yeah, I'd love to get Anne on here.
Yeah, but I know with when Sean was born, it was just myself, one nurse, and then one doctor in Babakura Hospital.
Oh really?
In that ward. Yeah. In that particular, actually the whole hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it had to be. So it was
more attention,
pretty Spartan, and, not like it is today with all the high-tech equipment.
Yeah,
yeah. But
and as kids, what were they like as kids growing up? From what you remember?
Kids.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sean was. I know
Sean could be cheeky.
Yeah, he was just typical boy. But,
typical boy.
But yeah, they were both wonderful kids. And
that's nice.
They've both done, very well. So,
yes.
And can't have any.
They've gone off to have wonderful kids too.
Yeah, and they've both had wonderful careers and brought up, got 5 wonderful grandkids, and they've all done well.
That's nice.
I think it was worth it when we went to US.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Wait, so like Amy was born. And then a couple years later, Sean was born.
Right.
And then, so describe like what it was like having 2 young kids. Were you still working at certain places? Or?
I was still at the Star.
Yeah.
Until we left to New Zealand in 1987.
All right. Yeah.
I left to America, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how old? So they would have been what?
8? 9 and 12, I think.
9, okay.
Sean was about 9 and Amy was 12 when we left.
12.
Yeah. So we just had a typical New Zealand family.
Yeah.
Prior
to that?
Yeah, prior to that. I mean, at that time.
So what was the whole idea or the psyche behind moving to America? Was it more like let's just travel around the world and we'll go here first kind of thing?
That was a part of it for sure, a big part of it, because Anne's brother was living in the US.
He was already there.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
In San Francisco, or near San Francisco at the time.
Oh,
that's why we went to that area.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
The thought was we'd travel a bit around the world, then come back, but ended up we
you
stayed.
guys did that anyway in a different way.
Yeah. In the end, we just stayed in the US. Well, I stayed there for over 30 years.
Over 30 years in the
3
US.
decades. And I think the other part of it is that we wanted to give the kids, Amy and Sean, a bit more opportunity for education, for jobs, and the US would be a good place for that because of its. Because it's
had a booming economy back then, and,
yes,
a lot more advanced in so many different ways.
Yeah, the economy was definitely needed nurses. That's why we were able to get work there, because there's a shortage of nurses.
Oh, okay.
That's
so
why
big opportunities
that's
there.
why Auntie Anne was able to work as critical care at Stanford Hospital.
Mm.
I mean, she was hired just on the phone.
So they really needed people.
Yeah, but now it's different. Now it's
Okay, yeah.
now it's different. So we had it was a good opportunity for us, apart from exploring another country.
Mm.
I mean, and
Were you swearing then when you were going to
no,
swearing in Samoan? Just a natural reflex.
well, no,
Different
not going
circumstances.
then. Yeah, not going over there. But I'm glad.
Coming back.
Well, looking back now, after we've left, looking back at the difficulties America's going through right now,
Oh yeah,
it's probably good.
it's going to get worse, I reckon.
Yeah, with gas prices so high,
Many
food
things,
prices,
food and energy,
and
housing.
and
It's just the
politically,
beginning.
it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very, very stable for a long time, for decades.
Well, unstable.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be very stable for a long time.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Situation, but I think it was a good move.
Yeah.
They did well in the education, and so we're quite glad that we did that.
So what was it like for you initially, Uncle, when you were there? Were you like very impressed for like a while and just this is the new home?
Yeah, I mean, we could do things that we'd seen in the movies, kind of thing.
Yeah.
on TV.
Mm.
Visit Alcatraz or visit.
And like you're right there.
Yeah, great places like
Golden
Yosemite
Gate.
Valley. Yeah, so there's a lot of great things that we could view or
Mm.
visit. Like
Close to LA,
and then
Vegas.
Las Vegas, and I played rugby there, so I made a lot of lifelong friends there.
Mm. And that's another good thing about like the Bay Area. They're quite they get into the rugby too, yeah.
Oh,
They've got like a little
rugby's
community.
very popular
Rugby.
in the whole country there.
Is it in the whole country?
Yeah, right throughout the country you'll find rugby players.
Oh, okay.
Rugby club level and colleges. It's really big in colleges.
Okay.
And I think it's going to get bigger because they're going to have the Rugby World Cup there in about 9 years' time. So hopefully it'll get improved.
Yeah.
But I played there, old boys, in '87. And I had a lot of good friends there, lifelong friends.
Mm.
And I think that Sean played rugby as well later on.
Oh, yes.
So that was a great way for him to get into Berkeley, get a good education in Berkeley and through rugby. And now Dom's there playing rugby.
Probably
so,
Max too soon. Yeah.
Yeah, Max could be playing, either rugby or football somewhere. So, but he's got that opportunity. And,
that's important.
And then Kyla's, she's got nurse. She's, following the footsteps of her mum and grandmother.
Yes.
And then there's
recently got accepted into what was the
University of Michigan.
Yeah.
Nursing school. So
quite a prestigious one, I hear.
I believe so. So that's good for her.
Mm. But with the rugby, so like even rugby, you played like a lot of rugby around the country?
Yeah, we travelled
or
around.
just local in the like Bay Area?
We'd go to Las Vegas for tournaments and South. Where did we go? We could. Well, I think we did travel a little bit. Let's say to Las Vegas, and we'd travel to go up and down the the West Coast, like in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have games down there. And then I think I played up in Northern California.
Okay.
So, but there were also other tournaments you could get. That time there was a lot of tournaments around the whole country. So you could go and wander around the whole US and find tournaments.
Is it like a different playing style, did you find, like compared to NZ playing like in the States?
It was a bit different. I mean,
was it? Yeah.
A lot of those.
Less physical? Or
it's very
same?
physical. It is very physical. I mean, there's some very good athletes over there. Mm-hmm. But you get various different standards of play.
Yeah.
of course. But I mean, we just played Old Boys, which is you know, it's a lot of weekend warriors stuff who are getting old, and they just want to
have some fun.
They just want to have fun. A lot of the guys I played with had played later in life or didn't play when they're younger.
Yeah.
So they really enjoyed it, and they enjoyed it because they enjoyed it for the parties afterwards, and they get
to travel around a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
you guys travelled a bit too. Yeah.
Yeah, the teams would also travel overseas. You know, they go to tournaments. I mean, I played in Argentina. I went for our Golden Old Boys in Argentina, Wales, and then I last played in New Zealand. So that was when I hung up playing in New Zealand for Golden Oldies tournament then in Christchurch. So
it's good. You get to travel around and play some rugby.
We've had friends from all around the world playing rugby, and a lot of my best friends from there. We'd travelled around the whole world and playing rugby from all sorts of places. And some of them were getting old.
Yeah. And Sean, he got quite high in his rugby.
Yeah, he went
career.
Played for the US in the World Cup in Ireland.
But even before that, he was quite a dominant player with was it Cal?
Went for good excellent player at Cal, and then he played for club rugby for Golden Gate Club and played seven. So he's a very good. I mean, he's a very good natural athlete. But
he's tall and strong.
Yeah, he's a great. I think he could.
He's got that island strength.
I mean, he played football at Cal. So he's had a lot of experience.
Was it Bears? Is that the?
The Bears, Golden Bears. Cal. Bears is their mascot.
I remember in his teens he came to NZ for
8 months.
For 8 months, so
played rugby at Manurewa High School.
Yeah, so I think that would have been a good experience for him.
Yes,
playing the island way, you know. It's more about the hits than the tries.
Right, but it was also good for him to learn about some rugby. You know, get some skills, improve his skills playing rugby New Zealand stuff. But that was a great experience that year. That year he took off. And,
I still remember some memories when he was there. That was cool.
Yeah, I came down and watched some of his games. He had some great games there with the boys, and he made some great friends there.
I remember he was in the ESPN magazine. That was a big one.
Oh, right. That was after his final year at Cal.
I
think it was last year at Cal.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was for rugby.
Rugby. I think it said something like the toughest rugby player or something.
Right. I think we still have that magazine.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
But he enjoyed it
somewhere.
I mean, rugby was a great sport for Sean. I mean, it's helped him with his career.
Yeah.
I mean, after college, he could had a lot of friends who did well in whatever business in any.
So networking.
Business. So it was a great network for him.
And even probably a confidence build, you know, probably help with confidence.
Oh,
and a lot of skills with teams, you know.
Team and
team building.
Right.
So, helps on many levels.
He's become very accomplished public speaker. So public speaking with this role.
Yeah, I can't wait till they come back for a visit.
Oh, Sean,
Yeah. And Amy too. Well, Amy's only in NZ, so
Amy's in New Zealand. Yeah,
she'll be coming soon. Do you think?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if she comes this year.
Oh, that'll be cool. That'll be awesome. I know. I heard the kids are going overseas to
probably
New York
this week.
Well, this week to New York.
This week to mainly to Texas to visit Bobby's grandparents and their friends, and then visit New York. Yeah. So I think Sean, I'm sure he really made that transition back to New Zealand and reconnecting with his family and roots in New Zealand. And Amy's done the same now with coming back to New Zealand, because she could have stayed back in the US. I think if it wasn't for the pandemic, COVID thing, She probably, would probably still be there.
Still be there, yeah?
But once she's found that it was difficult because Jacob was here for a couple of years and hadn't been able to get back home. And then she got connected with the Pacifica group and Deloitte's at New Zealand. So I think that made her realise that, that was a good time to come back.
Yeah, that's
and contribute back to New Zealand.
She's still young too, so
Yeah,
it's been a few years there.
Yeah,
And she can always probably move back later or somewhere else.
Oh yeah, she could move anywhere. I think she had the chance to go to Australia. Actually, they were keen to have her here because the stuff that she did in America is a lot bigger program here in Australia. Which she could have done, and she actually had the chance to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure she.
But she's decided to go to East Wellington because the kids were there. In Victoria. But she's done really well.
Very well. Awesome accomplishment
in America.
Yeah.
But now that she's back in New Zealand, I think she's enjoying it. And same with Bobby.
Yeah, Bob. I want to talk to him about his experience in NZ, just being there.
Yeah, I think he's enjoying being there. He's bought himself a scooter.
Nice.
Go to work, and so he's working with.
Must be very different though, Uncle? Being in like Texas, where it's like really hot and.
Oh right,
and
that's the first big difference you notice.
Texas. Brown, yellow grass.
Yeah.
Then you go to Wellington and it's like wet
and cold and can be miserable. In Texas, I'm used to like 6 months of 100 degree, 39 Celsius.
What's that
weather.
Like? 49 degrees.
100's about 38, 39 Celsius.
Yeah, it's hot. Yeah.
And that's every day. It's actually It's actually starting to get hotter earlier now because the heat thing, the weather changes. It's starting to get this year. They get record temperatures earlier, like in May. Like they're getting close to 100.
Right.
In Austin, they're getting close to 100 in May.
So
first time. So
closer
May
to winter,
September. Yeah, it's getting really hot there.
So you guys moved to the States in the Bay Area, California, like Northern Cal,
right?
And you guys were there for like how long? Close to
24 years or so.
24 years.
Well, Sean's still there.
Yeah. And you guys were all there. And then Amy decided to move to Texas.
Yeah.
Because
she married
for work
Bob.
and Bob. She met Bob. So they kind of branched off to Texas.
Yeah.
So we had like a Texas connection.
Yeah.
That was cool.
You've visited Texas.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
That area with the beautiful, lovely music and.
It's very active. When I was there, anyway. Yeah,
it's grown even more. So.
And the Salt Lick.
Yeah, they love their meat there.
Barbecues.
Barbecue, man.
And then, so when did you move to Texas?
2012, I think it was.
2012. Oh, yeah. So you would have been in Texas for a while.
About 9-10 years, yeah.
In Texas? Really?
Yeah. About 9 at least. 2012 to...
Oh, yeah.
No, I only left
maybe
in 20...
10 years?
10, yeah.
About 10 years.
I left in 2021.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a long time. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, I met a lot of...
Jeez.
I met a lot of good friends who are, sort of...
it's very different too, Uncle? Like,
yeah. To me, it was interesting because I met a lot of redneck, they call themselves redneck friends, and they sort of...
that's like the fob, is it?
Yeah. I get to know in detail, sort of hunted with these guys, with friends and on their ranches with all their guns.
Yeah.
So I got to know discover all that whole thing about being Texan and the love affair with guns and hunting. So that was interesting. Meeting people on that personal level and hunting and ranches. And
Very different mindsets too, between like California and Texas. Do you think? Yeah.
I suppose there is, but it's hard to judge between the two. I mean, such big countries, and
Yeah.
they're such big distinct entities.
Yeah. I guess the whole country's got their own,
Yes, like
their own
compared to
individual
different
state
countries.
thing. Yeah.
I mean, they're two big states.
Mm.
They've got, populations over 30 million each. So it's hard to compare. I mean, Texas itself, there's a whole lot of different groups. There's rural Texas, which is mostly Republican. And in the cities, you've
like
got
Austin,
mostly, you've got different,
Houston.
bit more diversity, and there's a bit more, a different sort of political
Bit progressive.
feeling about it. But the whole country, that whole state is very complicated. But just about everywhere they all enjoy. It's quite a fascinating place.
Yeah.
And I was just beginning to get to understand it a little bit.
Yeah.
10 years. But you have to be careful there.
Really?
Oh,
Like
anywhere in
in
America.
what-
But,
in
just
America, yeah.
yeah, I mean, like with road rage, you have to be careful with the road rage because
Not the wrong person.
people, carry guns.
Oh, yeah.
They can use,
Have you got any gun stories, Uncle?
just hunting. Oh, the only
More hunting.
just hunting stories.
And just
What people
general
carry.
news and stuff.
I mean, the friends have shown me all sorts of guns that they have, from the Dirty Harry type thing.
Oh, really?
The big .45 to a small. One of my friends had a small little gun which he could put in his wallet.
In his wallet?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
He said it got stolen from him, and he had it in his truck, and somebody stole it.
Oh, jeez.
But they have all sorts of gun stories and hunting stories. So.
You don't have any experiences with like...
With problems?
Yeah.
No, you have to be careful though, because a couple of times, if when I was exiting onto a road, I think sometimes people they don't like the way you do it, so in Texas they come up with a truck right next to you, and they'll sort of deliberately swerve in you. But
Yeah?
that happened to me a couple of times.
Really?
A lady did that to me once. She didn't like the way I entered
turning?
onto a road. She sort of put a car up and sort of deliberately swerved into me for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were just being nice Texans at this stage. Just a little, howdy do.
Are there other ways to turn into a road? I don't know.
No, they were turning into my car.
Oh.
It's just sort of like, just to say, I didn't like what you did kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So you must have maybe done something prior.
No,
I'm not really sure what, but...
I was just coming onto and entering a road. And it's like entering on a freeway, they were behind me, so they should have let me in, but...
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But I guess they didn't like the way, maybe I cut it too fine for them.
Yeah.
But they were just being nice then. I mean, they could have shot me,
Oh, really? So many stories. Yeah, it's like... Did you feel like... Because when I noticed there's like a lot of homeless people around in the cities and stuff. But from your experience, when you first moved there to like later on, was it like increasing or was it kind of just always there?
I think it's always been there, but definitely with the pandemic, it's definitely gone worse.
Oh, yeah, that affected the whole world.
In Texas, I noticed it straight away because when the pandemic happened, within a few months, people were losing their jobs, so they couldn't pay their rent. Then they were just evicted. Within a few months, we'd see people living in tents on the side of the freeway, or even the side of a street. There's one main street. I used to drive to work in the morning, and right next to the main road, right next to the main freeway, but on an ordinary like a main street road.
Yep.
And you see all these tent cities would come up, and they were living right on the footpath.
Wow.
Right, right next to where the traffic was.
Like where a car would park.
Yeah.
Probably just.
Yeah. And I think they were there because there was a local church nearby, which provided food. Like they get food, and there were some toilets there. But then you'd notice in other places right by the freeway. So you'd notice the immediate impact. But that's always been there, like in California. I remember the first time within a few months of moving, when we moved to Menlo Park, California, I think we all went to McDonald's one day.
Yep.
And this old chap came shuffling up. We were inside eating, and I thought he said, "You should be ashamed."
Yeah.
But what
you're
actually,
eating.
Yeah, that's what I thought he said. What he actually said was, "Do you have any change?" As an old fella. Yeah. But that was one of our first experience with homeless people.
Yeah. It can be quite scary too.
That was 87. There were definitely homeless people everywhere then. But in California, and especially in San Francisco, it became a lot worse. And it's become an issue now because of so many.
I noticed like a lot of people are moving out of California.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah.
It is way expensive. I mean, when we first moved there in 87, I mean, how prices were reasonable, were affordable.
Yeah.
But now it's gone crazy. And
yeah.
I don't know how anybody you'd have
like a normal household.
Yeah, you'd
family.
have to earn a lot of money just to even.
You had to be in the top 1%.
Just about.
Yeah, that's another fascinating thing, like credit. Like with America, I've always like been fascinated with this kind of credit. Like I notice a lot of Americans, I don't know, I want to ask you, like, because a lot of statistics show like Americans are very dependent on credit, you know, like credit cards and stuff. Is that like something that you would kind of agree with? Is that like part of the culture of like America or even parts of the States?
Oh,
what would you say?
Yes, I think most people put on credit. I mean, anything over, I mean, some people just put everything on credit, and then they pay it off by, pay a little bit off per month.
Yeah, because like with interest rates going, you know, lower and lower, and then eventually getting to zero, it's become easier to borrow. It's actually makes sense to borrow it rather than to save, because you're losing money when you put money in the bank. Whereas traditionally rates would be higher, so you would be rewarded to save. Right. And you know, it'll be hard for you to pay off with higher interest rates. Right. So I'm just fascinated in that regards. It's like they've conditioned the whole country to borrow, you know what I mean? Yes. Because it's almost like you're rewarding people to borrow. You're actually better off to borrow and then pay it off. You don't get penalized, really. Yeah. So, but now we're in a situation where rates have to rise because of inflation. And so when you have like not just America, but like a lot of people around the world that are just conditioned to borrow and not really familiar with like savings and things like that. So when rates rise, just the impact it's going to have on the global economy, you know? And I think it's going to be a catastrophe, really. You know, it's just going to have a flow-on effect, you know? It's just going to affect so many individuals, so many companies, and I don't know what it looks like, but I know it's not going to be a good one.
Well, that's what they're saying in the morning in New Zealand already. That,
really?
The interest rates, once they go up, they were starting to go up already. And people are going to have to find an extra, you know, a few $100s a month or even $1,000 a month to pay their mortgage off. And they're going to struggle because the prices of cost of living has gone up as well. So it's going to be a very difficult time. And that's just New Zealand, but also around the world.
Even here,
Yeah.
it's the same thing.
The interest rates have got up. I mean, America, when we were there in '87, interest rates were really low. And they went even lower right through from...
Yeah, what were they like in '80? Because I know in the '70s, they were at the highest, 20%, yeah?
Yes.
In the '70s.
But I think right through the '80s and '90s and 2000s, they were practically, almost 1 to 2% or even zero
Are you sure?
in New Zealand. They went that
in
low.
NZ?
No, in America.
Oh, in America.
The interest rates were very low.
Mm.
You could get, 3% was pretty common for a house back in those days.
Yeah, because I
don't know what it is now, but I believe it's going to.
I think it's nearly 1%.
Nearly 1%?
Yeah.
In the US or
in the US, they've kept it zero for nearly a decade.
Yeah.
Between 7 and 10 years, anyway.
For a long time.
Yeah. In 2000, I think 6 or 7, it was 5 or 4%, and then they dropped it to 1%.
Right.
And then the Great Recession happened, and they dropped it down to 0% for a long time. They tried to raise it 2.25%, and then they brought it back down, and then now they're back at around 1%.
I think the Fed is going to raise that, bring it up higher.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of issues with the economy, but in America anyway.
Yeah. I find it fascinating, like that side of things, like economics and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's complicated with the war in Ukraine. Energy prices have gone up a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Energy prices, I think, were already going up before the war.
Yeah. Right. It's made it worse.
Oh, yeah. In the global side of things.
And then
you've got Euro, they're very attached to the Russian energy.
No,
yeah,
who knows how that's going to end?
I don't know, eh? Anyone's guess. Yeah. What else do you get into, Uncle? What other hobbies do you get into?
Oh, I enjoy golf. I was work out.
Oh, golf.
Yeah.
They got a few golf ranges around here.
Yeah. Once I get my golf clubs, they're still in America.
Oh, really?
Once I get them here, I'll be able to hit the balls, hit the rackets.
It costs quite a bit of money to get it here, eh?
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. I'll get it eventually. But I always enjoy science, movies. Got a big collection of. I've got a little collection of Japanese samurai movies.
Oh, really?
I enjoy.
Oh, wow.
I enjoy Japanese movies, movies in general, and sports. A lot of sports.
Yeah,
because I'm interested in rugby. Actually, college football, American football, is one of my biggest interests.
College football is huge.
Yeah, it's very big in America, and I enjoy that, and some professional football. I quite follow that.
Who's your teams?
Oh, I like the 49ers or Miami Dolphins. I like following the Pacifica players who've done well
in those certain teams.
Yeah, in the American football. There's a lot of Polynesians playing there. So I follow that a bit. But I love watching American college football. That's really big. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I noticed when I was there, I think it was Berkeley versus the one in Austin.
Oh, Texas, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They were it was the final.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a coincidence, I'm visiting California.
That was a bowl game. Must have been a bowl game.
Oh, I don't know, but it was a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most games are big. I mean, Texas, that stadium holds over 108,000.
Wow.
I went there once to watch
that's just college football.
Yeah. I went there to watch Cal play Texas. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those fans were serious.
Oh, yeah. College
really
football.
Serious. You go to...
What's the thing about college football, though? I think a different concept.
Yeah.
What I'm used to.
Well, all the college sports are like football and basketball. They're really big when it comes to certain certain games, like
with the rivalry.
Yeah, with basketball, though, of course, in March they have the big national competition, March Madness. So, and then there's so many basketball teams involved. But with football, it all goes back to your colleges that you support, and there's so many colleges. And football is the biggest sport in the US. They're pros and college football. There's a lot of big money in it, and now but there's a lot of historical things. It goes back years. Families watch it for decades.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of rivalries and loyalties that go back to. It's like us supporting the All Blacks, but us for the All Blacks or the Wallabies. So,
but that's more like the national sport, though. But I guess it'll be like Tongaroa College versus Manurewa College.
Yeah,
and then the rivalry just grows over generations.
There are rivalries, and it's like Cal versus Stanford. That's the big rivalry.
And your family's probably, invested in the school.
Yeah.
And you want your kids to go to that school. So
that's a big part of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So you multiply that, by multiples and places like the South where, football is such a big game. It's such a big religion there. It's even more bigger than rugby is here because they take it very serious there. It's
religious.
Yeah, for sure. That's why they get. I enjoy it, football anyway. Probably enjoy watching football as much as watching All Blacks play.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Would you say there's like less action in football, or is it just the quality and the like attentiveness in football when they do play?
Yeah, they're two different games. I mean, there's so many there are stoppages in football.
But do you find like when there is action, the action justifies like?
Yeah, I quite enjoy the action. There's a lot of skill involvement, throwing the ball and running through tackles.
There's a lot of like calculations involved, like pre-planning, pre-planning plays in football. Whereas rugby is just, you just think on the spot.
They both have their complexities. But, I mean, with football, there's it's not just the players involved, it's also the coaches who drew up the plans, the game plan. So
it's more intense. You even you got like players that just have a specific purpose too. Yeah?
Exactly.
And you got two different teams on the one team, like offense and defense.
Well, there's actually three. There's special teams. There's three parts of it. But you got
counting.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot it's something you just get bored up with, I think. You just get bored. You get bored up with it, and you sort of get to love the game. So,
no, I enjoy it. Just I'm not huge on sports.
No. I mean, even at high school, like in Texas, that's huge there. Yeah, football. I
don't mind the NBA though. I've been watching the finals.
Oh yeah,
Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, that's my team.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I'm a Warriors fan.
Yeah, I wasn't really big into like basketball, but it was just one of those things because you guys were there. Like that was kind of our connection to the state. So if you had to choose a team, you just choose the one where you have a connection,
Right.
Yeah, so I would choose Golden State Warriors, even though they were like trash back in the day.
Yeah.
I never thought they would be like decent.
Yeah.
But that was just the team. It was like, just choose them anyway.
That's a good series with the World Final.
Yeah, have you been watching?
Tied up. I haven't watched it, but I've been following it. It's tied 2-2 now, right?
Yeah.
Steph Curry had 44 points.
Yeah. Crazy. Boston surprised me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's going to be close.
It's going to be a good series.
I honestly don't know who's going to win.
No, I think any one of them could take it.
Could be Game 7. Jeez,
I wouldn't be surprised
because it'll be in the San Fran too.
Yeah,
if
July
it is Game
1st,
7.
isn't it? Yeah,
I'm not sure the dates.
Yeah, I think it will be. It could well be in San Francisco.
Yeah, I think it is. If it's Game 7,
If it gets to
that'll
Game
be
7.
electric.
Yeah.
Mm.
They have a lot of celebrities, that one.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I remember when I was in, like, my first visit to the States in the Bay Area, and Sean would tell me, like, if, like, say, like, the Oakland Raiders or someone would win, like a series, like win, then they'll riot in the street. Like, people would riot and, like...
Right.
I always thought it was the opposite. Like, if you lose, you would riot and, like...
I know,
turn cars over.
Yeah,
but he said, like, if they win, people go crazy in the streets.
Yeah, any of those big
was like,
championships, they do that. Like a Super Bowl
They
win.
just go, like, crazy in the streets. I was like, oh, it's different. I always thought it was the other way. You're angrier, then you go riot in the street.
No, it's the other
But
way.
there's, like, they just need an excuse to riot.
Especially if they haven't won anything for a long time.
Yeah.
It makes it
A lot of built up
anger.
well. So now you're here, Uncle, in Melbourne,
Yes.
Australia.
Right.
What's your plans here?
Oh, just spend time with mum and your mum and that.
Just helping out family.
See what it's like here. It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper than New Zealand. And
So far.
the roads are bigger, straighter.
Oh, well, in Wellington, it's just
Wellington, that's
windy
a narrow,
everywhere.
winding road, but
Yeah.
and a lot of roundabouts. But here
or there? Oh, over there?
over there,
Really? Oh, wow.
but here it's a lot more relaxed. Big wide roads.
Bigger, I suppose, so the roads are
Yeah, the
more straightforward.
gas is a bit cheaper here. So
Oh, it's always been cheaper. Actually, it's expensive now, but yeah, it's always been a lot cheaper than NZ.
and they've got good health services here. It's very. I'm amazed it's open. You know, clinics open like 7 days a week,
Yeah.
even up till midnight.
Some places, yeah.
So,
Telehealth.
yeah, it's been fascinating.
No.
I didn't think I'd. Oh, it's not something I would have done
Yep.
if I'd wanted to come over here, but it's only because of mum.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your family and that. So they came here.
Mm.
But it's it's quite
It's
interesting.
good for the journey, you know?
Yes. There's a lot of different ethnic groups here.
Yeah.
Uh,
A lot of Italians, and
Yes.
Greeks,
Greeks,
Maltese.
Maltese, Kiwis.
Yeah. I find it's more diverse here than Auckland.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but it feels that way. There's just so many more people and from different backgrounds that I've met here.
Well, population of Melbourne's about 5 million, isn't it?
Same as NZ
Oh,
country.
country.
So if you could live anywhere, where would you want to live right now?
Oh, I don't know.
Like if you could, say if money's not an option, I mean,
maybe in islands.
not an issue.
Maybe
Which
in
island? In
maybe in Tahiti or something like that.
Oh yeah, and you know what? Tahiti,
Somewhere I haven't been.
Tahiti would be nice.
Yeah, I had a friend who always used to go to one of the Tahitian islands every year.
Oh, every
I
year.
think it was one of those main island groups. Forgotten the name of it.
I'm not too sure, but I need to go.
Yeah. Some with the beach, some with the sea.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to mention, Uncle?
Just whatever you want to discuss.
Yeah, I just wanted to get your backstory, like it's been very fascinating. Thank you for sharing.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
All right. Is there like a message you want to give out to the future viewers?
No. No, just have a good life. Enjoy life while you can.
Yeah, that's right.
Or when you can.
That's it.
Yeah. And I'm glad to be here with you. How are you enjoying Melbourne?
Oh, living in Melbourne, I love it. But I wouldn't really recommend someone to fly overseas to come for the attractions. It's more of a come here as a base, enjoy the lifestyle, and then travel out. And yeah, it's
The attractions are the people here, I guess.
the people, and
That's
the
some great
opportunities, you know.
And the opportunities. You've got a lot of great sporting history here, though.
Yeah,
In Melbourne.
yeah,
Got the MCG, the Melbourne Cup.
yeah. Cricket and AFL, if you want to get into that.
AFL, yes.
Rugby league. Oh, it's one of the sporting capitals of
Yeah.
Australia. So if you, like I said, I'm not like huge into sports, but
No.
it's
But there are other attractions here. There's a lot
arts.
of music and art. Right?
Yeah, a lot of creative things that the city offers, you know.
Right.
Yeah, every few months there's like some sort of a festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, the city's the best. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Maybe we'll do another interview and you might be here for the next 10 years.
We'll see what happens.
All right.
Okay, then. Thanks,
you.
Ray.
Whoa.
Is that it?
Yeah, thanks,
Okay.
Uncle.
Thank you.